Good timing there, Michael. So, welcome back. Oh, I'm Matt, obviously. Sorry, it's slow. We need more technical support. I keep bitching about this. I started a technology union. Hire somebody, damn it. QAnon, just about all the dregs of society were there. Oh, 1 second. Evelyn says we are muted, so let me see what's going on here. Try saying something, Michael? I can fix this. I can fix it. Okay, try now.
All right, can you hear us now?
Oh,
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, 1 second here. Everybody else can hear me, but I can't find your channel. So I can do this. 1 second here. Oh, I need to go. Nope, I'm good. You guys are not, unfortunately. So please bear with me while I figure out what's going on. There you go. Try that now. Try saying something.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, look at that. We have Mike and Bailey.
Hey, give me that chat link too, by the way. Throw that at me. So, everybody, thanks for sticking around and being patient for the last 8 minutes on our little technical sort
We've
of.
been having some tech issues.
Yeah, but these things are just little bugs we're working out. But welcome to another edition of the Indignants, and yeah, I'm Mike.
I'm Bailey.
Once again, I'm Matt. Thank you, Candace, for the assist there. That was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the 10th anniversary of the Occupy movement. The worldwide Occupy movement, for the most part, started on the 15th of October, and that was exactly 10 years ago. And basically, what that was, if you don't know, was a whole bunch of tents and encampments and speaking areas formulated all over the world at city squares and town centers, and people basically took over places of commons. They took over the public parks and stuff like that, and protest against austerity and a whole bunch of other things. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about there. And the other big thing, rally that was held in London, and Matt and Bailey went to that rally, and you guys can speak to it way better than I can. But did you guys want to lead into that for the first part?
Should we start with like the shitty part and then
let's do the Occupy first.
No, I was
the shitty part.
I was actually thinking the opposite, where like
Right.
we start with like the anti-vax bullshit.
That's the
Yes,
shitty part.
yes.
Yeah.
Finish it off with Occupy, which is all warm and fuzzy.
See,
Yeah,
and we're gonna address that attitude there, Matt, when we get to the Occupy part. Okay, so.
Yeah, Matt.
excellent, excellent. The beatings may commence at any moment. So
Okay, so we've been given consent, folks. So you saw
yes,
Yeah.
that. So
yes,
yeah.
that would be considered consent. So
So do
yes,
you guys mind if I kind of interview you a little bit about
yeah,
this?
go right
Because
ahead.
Yeah, do it.
I definitely have questions because I'm now living up in Barrie, right? And I see a lot of this stuff happening. And there's this new character that seems to be online a lot. His name's Chris Sky. And he seems to be the big organizer. And it just seems weird to me that this guy seems like he's all into like making a bunch of money off this and stuff. And can you guys help me understand this? Like, who was at this rally? Who is this guy? What is really going on?
So this rally is put on by, I guess you'd say, an organization, because the best way I can sum it up is his website. He has a website, therealchrissky.com, and
So,
at
what are they protesting?
they're protesting vaccination mandates, mask mandates. They're protesting basically the government telling you anything to do. Um, what are they protesting? That covering your mouth when you cough works? You know, like
Yeah,
this.
pretty
This
much.
is this is a well organized machine. I honestly, when I found that there was this anti-vax protest in London, I thought, well, I'm going to go and attend. I figured it would be about the size of the local Pegida rallies that they'd have in town, and maybe 20 or 30 people would be there. No, this was hundreds and hundreds of people. Hundreds of people that are falling for this ploy of vaccines don't work, the government's out to control you, UN Agenda 2020, QAnon supporters, Pizzagate supporters, literal skinheads in the crowd. This was a very, I want to use the term enlightening, but enlightening's the exact opposite word for the feeling I had.
So that's this. Look at these two right here. Yeah. It's really concerning to me that uh, there were so many of these people. But I also look at the crowd and I see people that aren't from London there. How
Yeah.
many do you think were actually from London?
It's hard to say how many were actually from London, but what we can tell you is that this rally was very much marketed as something that brought people into town from all over the province. So basically so like obviously it's an anti-vax rally, but like the purpose of it was supposedly, allegedly about supporting first responders who are against the vaccine mandate and particularly the police. And there was a lot of talk from the speakers, including Chris Sky, about the London Ontario police and how they supposedly like gave him a
Oh,
statement about how they're
yes, my
against.
favorite line is he was given a statement from the London police officers that he was going to read and paraphrase. And I'm like, why do you have to paraphrase a
Yeah,
statement that they gave you?
yeah,
You just
he was literally
read the
like, I'm
statement.
not gonna go through the whole statement, I'm just gonna paraphrase. It's like, why would you not read the statement if it was given to you?
And I did see the London Police Department disavowed any connection to like the police union, or should I say crime syndicate, said that they weren't involved in any negotiations or any money dealings with Mr. Sky.
Yeah.
So
Well, the police union formally like denounced it basically and said we're not a part of this. But I have no doubt that there are police officers who are with this crowd and who, are against, they're part of this like anti-vax movement right now. And I have no doubt that like that part is legit, that there are people within the police force who are like getting on board with this, but like the police union itself, has taken a stance against it. But that was the purpose of that rally was, it was about supporting the first responders who are against vaccine mandates and vaccine passports. And yeah, but it was something, again, like it was something that brought people in from all over the province. So, anybody, I think we had people there from Windsor, Barrie, I think, because Thong Guy is from Barrie,
Yeah, that
apparently.
thong
Yeah,
guy's from my town. Yeah.
Yeah.
there was a lot of like they billed it as a parade that started in Vaughan, Ontario, a literal convoy down anti-vax convoy down the 401 to London, Ontario. There was a contingent that came from Windsor. This is a moving, traveling variety show. This is what they're doing is it's exactly on the Friday they were in Ottawa. On the Saturday, they were in London, and in the Sunday, they were in Windsor. And I have never seen, like, I could not sell t shirts that fast at a hockey game.
Speaking of which, can you show a picture of the stack of merch
Yes,
that these
Yeah, they
mofos
absolutely,
are
I can.
selling?
Just bear with
they
me one
had
second.
boxes and boxes of t-shirts. So they had t-shirts going for $30 and then hoodies going for $60. And they had boxes and boxes of this stuff. And these were t-shirts and hoodies that said hashtag just say no.
And I saw some Chris Sky for Prime Minister ones too.
Yep, that one too. Yep, yep. So these people, obviously there's been a lot of investing into merchandise and
Yeah, but
really
they're
making
making that backhand over fist. These guys
yeah,
are making tons of
yeah,
cash.
it's yeah, exactly. um
I
yeah,
never,
it's
I don't
just,
know,
I
man.
mean,
Should we have been doing this when we were big time activists,
well, this
Bailey?
is the
Like,
thing, like,
like
this is the thing. Can you imagine if we had, like, like, take Occupy for example. Like, what if Occupy had, because I mean we made t-shirts, I think, at one point. Like, some
hmm,
of us had t-shirts. Like, I
yeah.
still have an Occupy t-shirt somewhere in there, but, like, it's like, can you imagine if during Occupy, yes, see, but can you imagine during Occupy we make so many t-shirts, we invest in so much merchandise, hoodies and shirts and stuff, and we're asking for $30, $60 for shirts. Can you imagine, like, how much criticism we would get? Like, can you
Mm,
imagine how much criticism there would be of any movement that does that? I mean, that happens today. Like, like, if BLM, for example, if
there
Black
you
Lives
go.
Matter movement is making any kind of money off of whatever, right?
So
Then
there's,
it's like they get shit on for that.
mhm.
But no, the anti-vaxxers can sell hoodies for $60.
Yup. Now, one of those pictures you just showed there, Matt, there was an InfoWars
Yeah.
flag.
Oh,
Now,
yes, very much
let's talk
so.
about let's talk about the crowd a little bit, guys. Okay, like how diverse was this crowd really? Did you see a lot of diversity, ethnic sort of mixture, or was it sort of a vanilla flavor that you had when you were
This
there?
crowd was very angry and very white.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
You'll have to
no, in terms
ignore
of,
my raw photo feed. I need to delete some of the duplicates, but it works.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, there were different kinds of people there in that, you had, like, a lot of old people, obviously, like a lot of old boomers, but, like, also, like, there were, like, young mothers there with their kids too. Um, so, I mean, it was, like, I wouldn't say it was all, people all from the same demographic necessarily, but yeah, it was very white
Very
and,
Trump supporting.
yes, lots of Trump flags, Trump shirts,
Don't.
don't tread on me
mhm.
flags.
Yeah,
Like,
that InfoWars one, like there it is again there. That
mm,
InfoWars one is so if anybody doesn't know InfoWars, that's a certain particular fella by the name Alex Jones, who's afraid of chemicals in the water turning the frogs gay and
yeah, it's afraid of
you
nerds
know.
too.
Yeah, also the person that just lost a lawsuit to a bunch of grieving families that lost their children to a massacre, which he claimed never really happened. And he had his followers like harass these people. So, a really piece of shit human being. These are the kinds of people that these people look up to. These are the thought leaders of these people. Okay. Um, you know, and it just drives me nuts that so many people are falling into this old conspiracy fucking hole of old tropes and old bad ideas, and they have no idea what they're talking about. Like these guys here with the sign "fuck communism." Do they even know what that is? Do they even know what communism is? Do these people even know what
Yeah.
socialism is? Do they know that they live in a partly socialist country? Like I don't get it. I don't understand these people. I don't think they understand the world either.
No, but
So
here's the thing right now. People are feeling hard done by. They are feeling stepped on. It's been 2 years of kind of depressing, stuck inside shit, and they're looking for outlets. And this is an accessible one to them. This is
Yeah.
one that they can latch onto and they can feel an appeal with.
hmm somebody's doing a chat there. I can't see it because I don't have my chat program open.
Candace says it's an interesting observation. She's watched several of her younger left-leaning friends fall into these anti-vaccine mandates and the COVID passport protests. A few of them went to this. Seems like a blurring going on, mixing in with far-right supporters. Strange times. Very
hmm
strange times
Very.
indeed. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of these people are not people that I would have expected to see here. Yes, we've
hmm
got the usual PPC supporters, the
hmm
3% LARPers dressing up as army cosplay guys. There was
Mhm.
guys with their security dogs. You've got the
Really?
usual. Oh, yes, yes. You've got the usual groups of people, but then you just have like angry white men with an axe to grind,
hmm
right? Like it's kind of terrifying when I see crowds of this number and when I see families
Q Army.
being,
Q Army. My God.
yep, Q Army, literally families. Like this was a family event. You had people bringing their families, bringing their dogs.
So, I mean, Candace makes a great point, and I think there's probably a whole bunch of people in there that, oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I think there's a I'm just speechless. I think that there's definitely people in there that we would see eye to eye on with a lot of things.
Group of Canada
Uh,
Post workers. I stopped to talk to the post workers who were more than proud to have their photo taken, but were like, please don't get us fired. I'm like, well, you're the ones, like, they openly wore their work attire to this event to say, we're
Yeah.
Canadian Post employees and we don't agree with our union's mandate, was the status of their conversation. And
mhm.
sorry, guys, when I go to a protest, I don't wear my corporate attire because my company is not endorsing this.
I do recognize that one guy.
You
Yeah.
know, like, not your typical people you'd expect to see at an Alex Jones based event. The media's lying, QAnon, Nazis. It was a very sad day for London, Ontario. And I think it's unfortunate that more people aren't aware of how big this damn thing was
Look at
because
that.
these are our friends, neighbors, and family members. These guys were a treat, by the way. So,
Okay,
he,
so anybody that's watching right now that says that there were no Nazis or how you know that there were Nazis there or not, Matt, who are these two fucknuts?
well, this is Northern Guard, right? Northern Guard is a splinter cell from the 3%ers that decided they didn't want to be led by a woman. They're a far right white nationalist organization. And, people might be like, how do you know they're skinheads? Well, I had to be a little distracting when taking pictures because you don't want to piss off the skinheads. But one thing you can always do is the Northern Guard vest is a dead giveaway. The
Yeah,
shaved heads. But then if I get it down here, he's going
yeah.
full white laces, baby.
So a pair of Doc Martens with white laces. That's a sign.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that is an intentional thing, so that everybody that knows that he's a white nationalist, he's a white supremacist,
Yep.
and that he thinks that black people, brown people probably shouldn't be here or are probably less than him.
And all of it is based around communism. This is the new red fear that we're being presented with to say, fear the communists, they're coming to take your rights away again. And
Except by communists, they mean Justin Trudeau.
they mean Justin Trudeau, they mean the woke crowd, they mean the gay people, they mean the trans people that want to use bathrooms in public, right? Like this is still the same people arguing against this nonsense bullshit that in the 21st century we really don't need to be standing with,
But the
you know?
problem we have though is there's some people that we could be reaching that are in there, and so there's some people in there that don't feel the same way that these people feel about these other things, but the more that they're going to be hanging out with these fuck nuts, my apologies for that, um the more that they might like integrate with them or start sort of buying into some of this ideology and worldview. And that's really the part that troubles me, especially seeing a flipping crowd that big there, you know?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Some of these people are so close to getting it because they're generally working class folks. They're generally people that are living paycheck to paycheck, but they're the ones that are looking for the easiest reason as to why that is. And everything that surrounds them tells them it's not the guy writing your paycheck. He's benevolent. You know, it's not the capitalist class, it's not the ruling class. It's it's the elite educated folks, the university elitist class. It's the yeah. I just I'm baffled by how quickly they start to sway to the
Well, and they're starting to steal a lot of our little things, our talking points and stuff like that. Like you know, you even watch someone like Tucker Carlson on TV and he rails against you know, corporations and you know, big money and stuff like that. Yet he's heir of the Swanson dinner, TV dinner you know, family, right? So ah man, yeah, just how do we reach those people when we don't have the level of propaganda, we never did either, that a
Yeah.
lot of these right wing people have, right? Like you watch someone like um Dan Dix from Press for Truth, or you know, I can't think of anybody else right now offhand, but everybody probably can think of like five or six people, and they make a living doing it. They reach a lot of people. They're you know, and their stuff's probably a little more entertaining than a lot of our stuff. So I don't know, you know.
well, after seeing this weekend and expecting a crowd of maybe 60 at most, um, clearly we need to do better on the left. We need to do much better on the left. We need to do more outreach. We need to do more organizing. We need to be less fractured because
Yeah.
the one thing this crowd has going for it is everybody there's like, well, we might not agree on everything, but we agree on some of the things. And I'm like, well,
Hmm.
the problem is the things that you don't always agree on is like literal Nazism in the
Yeah.
crowd, right? Like
Right.
over on the left, we just want like I keep saying this, free education, dental care, housing to be a right, like the things that you want, but they're terrified. What they've managed to do on the right is create this fear that we as the left are going to come and take all those things
Their
that they've
stuff.
worked hard for.
Yeah, all their stuff, their house, their property, their
Yep.
car,
Yeah.
their you know. Yep.
And that's where we need to be more inclusive. Bailey and I were talking about this a lot. Like, enough hard theory. Enough hard theory. Like, Marx and Engels is great. Go and read all the books you want. You know, I can't even pronounce his Bakunin. Bakun-
Bakunin.
Bakunin,
Bakunin. There we go.
Mhm.
and then
Um,
Bookchin.
Bookchin.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
The two
These are
B's.
great names, and everybody should read what they've written. But it's time to modernize our efforts and bring everybody into that circle, like the big tent leftism, right? Like this
I think
is,
you've hit the nail on the head, and I think people like Steve Darcy, who Bailey knows as well, who's probably written on something like this too, is that like the left is very fractured. It isn't like the old school solidarity left of a class sort of fighting class fights and stuff like that. Um, we need to rekindle that, right? We need to find a way, have some common you know, language, some sort of common thing. Occupy was great for that. I mean, we could say segue into that, but I don't want to quite yet because I think that we still need to talk about this. But since then, there's really not been that much, for overall. Like you had Black Lives Matter, that's great, but I mean, I'm not black, I'm an ally, I'll go out and help out and stuff like that. But I'm not as invested in that movement, unfortunately, right? And I know they're very diverse and stuff like that, but it's still a little bit different, you
Well,
know.
this is where we need that umbrella movement, right? We need this umbrella movement that they all fall in under, and we need to acknowledge that it all falls under this umbrella of classism, right? Um, Unfortunately, I think communism has to, like, the problem is we can't fight the propaganda that's been nailed into people's faces over the past 50 years about communism. You know, for some reason you can just say communism and everybody goes scurrying away. But th-
That's why I say I'm an anarchist,
yeah,
because
well,
it's
even
true.
I
anarchists,
think people don't do that with anarchism also.
yeah,
I know.
anarchism
I know.
means like Molotov cocktails and
Yeah,
overturning cop cars to most people, right? So,
lawlessness and destruction.
because Emma Goldman was turning over cop cars all the time. So,
Throwing
Yeah,
Molotov cocktails.
totally.
She was a badass, though.
Emma Goldman, oh my god, Emma Goldman is literally my favorite leftist in all of history.
Bailey used to use her name, actually. So for a
I
you
while.
used
sure
to
it's
I
not these
used
guys? Are these not your favorite leftists in history?
to
So, so it's I get to talk to people sometimes at work and stuff like that, and I live in a very redneck area, and honestly, there are stupid people, and I think there's stupid people everywhere. Um, but I think a lot of it boils down to someone's like social upbringing, the media that's been pumped into their head, um, because a lot of things we see eye to eye on, um, they just don't see past the blinders that they got put on that feed and pipe them all the stuff that they have grown up learning and knowing. So, how do we penetrate that? Like conversations are great, but we can't reach all these people. It's tough.
I mean, there's really no easy way to do that. I think that we need to do a lot of different things. Like, we need to be accessible, first of all, like Matt said, and we need to talk to people a lot, right? And
In plain
sometimes,
English.
yeah, and we need to also be able to, in some ways, meet people where they're at when we're having these discussions with them. Like, obviously, if somebody is saying shit that is fucking racist or, bigoted in any way, like, obviously, like, we draw a line with stuff like that, but I think in general, I think in general, the most effective thing, or one of the most effective things we can do, is just talk to people and understand where they're coming from and try to find that common ground. Like, there's no other way to bring people to your side on something, right?
Yeah. Find
And as much
commonalities
as we
first.
might want to, like, yell at these people and be mad at them and tell them they're shitty and stuff, that's not going to bring them to the left. That's not going to make anybody want to work with us or have anything to do with us, right? And they're just going to keep thinking, like, these leftists are horrible. Like, they're you know they're really nasty, because, like, there are people who have had those experiences, right, where, like, they're interested in some kind of left-wing social movement, and so they try to get involved, and if they don't know enough about the issue, like, as much as other people do, or if they don't talk about it in the same way, if they're not familiar with all the terminology and stuff like that, like, people, there's a history on the left of just kind of jumping on those people and scolding them and getting angry at them for what are actually relatively small mistakes,
Yeah.
right? And then we blow it up like they've caused actual harm in the community, and then I mean, how many times have we seen that happen, right?
Yeah.
Or just like an unwillingness to have dialogue because you don't agree with that person on this specific issue, but maybe there's common ground elsewhere, but you don't want to look for that common ground because all you're thinking about is, well, I don't agree with them on this. And we got to stop that shit.
Yep.
We
I
have to stop
100%
all of this
agree.
shit.
And we
I think
also need to grassroots it up a bit.
Yeah.
You know, like we
praxis, guys. The word
Mhm.
praxis. We
Praxis.
need to start talking praxis. It needs to be
Yes.
praxis, praxis, praxis. Praxis
Yeah.
before theory. Praxis before breakfast. It needs to be praxis, right? You got to try to live it too as best you can. Even if you can't do it 100%, still try to do it,
Yeah.
you know? And yeah, you're 100% right, Bailey. Matt, like we need to find commonalities. Um, and we need to work from there on those commonalities. And that's why I think the Occupy movement was so good, because it did talk about the inequalities, the inequity, the wage disparity between people, economic groups, regions, countries, and the 1% versus the 99%. Had some great tropes, man, and that brought people together, I think, in a common sort of bond. Even some people that were kind of a little rightish, right?
Yeah, well, like, speaking of the 1%, okay, like, we're talking about this anti-vax rally and, like, all the conspiracy theories and stuff that go along with this anti-vax movement. And it's like, I think I said this to Matt a bunch of times on the weekend, and I've said it to you a bunch of times. I know for a fact, Mike. Might have even said it on this show before, but with all of the conspiracy theories that are out there, with all of the ridiculous shit that people believe, there are actual conspiracies going on, like the 1%, and Occupy, it was, 1%, 99%. Like, the 1% is a real thing. Like, the fact that, like, billionaires, like, own pretty much, like, a small group of billionaires own, like, most of the world's wealth and shit. Just the whole like capitalist infrastructure of everything, like these are actual conspiracies that are happening, right? Like these are. Oh, Mike's drinking something.
he's drinking White
Yeah.
Claw because he's a
Yeah.
17-year-old girl with fake ID.
Of course. But no, it's like there's actual conspiracies going on, right? Like they're like and these people want to focus on bullshit.
Like all those papers that we just talked about the last show, right? Like stuff like
Yeah,
that.
The
the
Pandora
And
Papers. Yes.
Pandora
yeah.
papers, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the thing. If anybody's interested, Google the transnational capitalist class. Like
Yeah.
this is the group that like their borders don't matter to them. Borders only matter to you and I, but there's a select, and it's not a conspiracy. This is just how multinational corporations and the powers that control them and the hedge funds that control them, this is how they work. They don't give a shit about borders, and they are incestuous with the way they
Yeah.
consume.
Mm-hmm. Nom, 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 nom.
So ultimately, after like I was saying, with what we saw this weekend, it's time to get some boots on the ground again. Like
So
this
I think
is
we'd all agree that the biggest concern about the rally that was on the weekend was the fact that you saw normies, I guess we can call them normies, mixed in with a bunch of Nazis and conspiracy wahoos.
alt-right
Yeah.
QAnon PPC flouting. Like this is the same crowd that does show up to Pegida rallies, and Pegida is the Protection for European Heritage group,
They're they're
whatever.
they're they're a racist.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
basically an anti-Muslim.
These
yeah,
are the
and
same groups of people, and somehow they're managing to get your aunt and uncle from Dutton to show up. And I
oh,
believe
we
I've.
lost you, Matt.
No, don't worry. Just relax. We can still hear you. You're all still good.
We're all good.
But yeah,
Okay.
no,
We
these
can't.
are the.
Because you're such a tech genius and you set it up so that you
Thank you.
get booted from
Uh,
Discord.
uh, my internet never goes down over here. I'm sitting on a bell box right now.
So what were you saying? Sorry, brother.
That like somehow they've managed to convince your aunt and uncle from Dutton that this is the
I lived
right
in Dutton.
right
I
train
live
to
like
be on, right? Like this is the train. This is the train for them. These are, and like I keep saying, this is how the Nazis started, man. You put a small man on stage, give him his ego, he's got some charisma working for him, and he seems to be approachable. But once again, to circle back to the man of the hour, Chris Sakachachia, or however you want to announce it, this man is a rich son of a bitch. He's the son of property developers in Toronto that have built over, I say it's 5,000 different properties. His family's worth hundreds of millions at this point. And on
So
top of
this is
that,
the guy that who's running these things.
this is the real Chris Sky. I'm going to pull up a picture of Chris Sky here so we all know number one man of the hour, Christopher Sky, who can't go by his real name. Chris Sky, Sakaka. How the hell do you pronounce it? I've got it up here. Chris Sakachia,
There he
who
is.
goes by Chris Sky. And do you guys know why he goes
really
by
hate
Chris
to cut
Sky?
somebody up.
He,
No, why?
he goes by Chris Sky now because Chris Sakakachia
His
is,
real name.
yeah, he's a heroin dealer.
Oh,
Like,
and he had cocaine on him too.
yeah, cocaine, MDMA,
and
$20,000 in cash.
it was more than $20,000 in cash, but yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, unproven in court, but when they catch you
yeah.
with the evidence basically in your fucking hands and you get off on a technicality, let's just say that's the way it is. So that's why he goes by Chris Sky right now. Because if you Google this fuckhead's name, you find out he's nothing than a 2-bit large volume heroin dealer. Like, this
So
is not your
he's
street dealer trying to peddle fucking drugs to feed his family. This is a guy with hundreds of millions of dollars in his account that thought he was cool by moving plates of heroin.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got hundreds of millions of dollars in his
His
account, but the
daddy
guy's got
does. His
whatever.
daddy does.
This guy's got money. Okay, he's a grifter. He's into this right now to become popular,
Oh,
and
he's popular.
this is what little people that are about 5'5" that take steroids and have, you know, this is what they do,
I
right? And
mean,
he's got a lot of money. I don't know. I know I'm cutting him up, but if you've seen the guy, he's pretty short and he looks like he's jacked. Like if you watch him on a video and stuff, he looks like he's like I
Matt,
don't know.
how many times did I say on Saturday how shocked I was at how little Chris Sky is? Like he
Oh,
looks,
just
yeah,
you.
like
I can.
You have a video of him getting arrested, don't you? And looking that remember that he showed that was a police officers or
Yes, would have to find that link again, but I have photos of Chris Sky from the weekend, and he's not a big guy. He also
no,
tends to
not a big,
stand tippy-toe when he's
yeah.
taking pictures with people. But here he is standing next to a guy where he's like 5'4", man. Like this guy's hunching down. So I I started drawing lots of Hitler comparisons.
there we go.
You know, like it's a
Why are his
strange.
why are his teeth so big? I'm sorry.
He has veneers because daddy
Oh,
daddy bought him new teeth because I'm willing to bet he's had a few knocked out. Like
uh,
this.
Probably.
they're
So,
shiny.
you know,
Yeah.
when a guy like this, who's borderline like illiterate, drug dealing, ego driven piece of shit, starts drawing crowds of thousands of people, and he feels harmed.
Right. And
And
then if you see some of the stuff that he said in the past as well, right? So like past is like, let's
he
get by
was
the petty
openly
stuff
calling
about
for
his appearance.
revolution. He was opening calling for revolution. He was standing
Really.
on stage saying hate is not a bad feeling. You can be angry over this and you need to be prepared to hate for this.
What? Did somebody catch that on audio video, I hope?
I'm
My
sure I
God.
didn't catch it on video. But yeah, I'm sure there's video footage of it all out there. I'm sure some numpty has streamed the entire thing. My favorite line of the night, Bailey, you remember this? Was one of the final speakers of the night was talking about how you could find her on Facebook. And she decided to close off, well, when you see my name and you search me on Facebook, I'm the white one. And my
Well, that's
jaw hit the floor. Well, because she means she's the white one with her name. Like, yeah, she's the white person, Mike.
A white one. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to be choosing any of those other people because they're not the
That's
right
yeah.
one.
So when I say, hey, yeah, look me up on Facebook. Oh yeah, I'm the white one. What? Like,
We
what,
were
you
just
don't
like, what?
already know? Like you're
I
standing
even
in front of
we had a
me and I
cop
need to
standing
say that?
beside us. We had a cop standing beside us, and I turned to him and I said, "Did I just hear that?" And he goes, "Yep, she just said the white one." And my heart
That's
went
what the
out
cop.
because
That's what the cop said. That's funny.
yep.
That's what Potroff said. Yeah, that was
Oh
Potroff.
really?
Oh, I had no idea. So, but yeah, and then after this woman goes on stage, making sure that everybody knows she's the white one because God forbid they choose the wrong one. Um, they brought to stage a 10-year-old African Canadian boy to talk about how, he didn't want to be vaccinated. So they're pimping out the children for this cause now too. So it's when I didn't want to be vaccinated when I was 9 because I'm still to this day scared of fucking needles. So, like, this is, yeah, we need to figure a way to combat this in the most lovingly open way possible. But I don't know how we're going to drag some of these people kicking and screaming over to our side. These are these are faces of rage.
We need to do what they're doing. We need to start talking common sense about a few things, like the Occupy movement did, and start bringing them in on the other stuff because that happened with a lot of people when that happened. We just have to make it last a little longer, I guess.
There's a reason the Arabs do it in the spring, god damn it.
We don't need to actually like hold ground or something like that, or we don't
You
need to
need a
have like
physical
take,
presence
but
because you need
but we
that
need we
constant.
need we need to have dialogue with people again, and that's what helped was the fact that we were able to have real dialogue with people, right? And it was that maybe it is just the face-to-face stuff. Maybe that is it, like to get real connections with people, because you know as well as I do, people become goddamn keyboard warriors when they're
Well, that's
behind a
exactly
screen,
it. It
right?
needs to
So
be face to face. It needs to be able where you can look another person in the eye and they can see your emotions and that, you're there for them. Because otherwise they just fall prey to the next tab they have open on their browser, right? Like we need the small groups that grow to become larger groups. The same thing these groups have done, where it's like now they've got thousands of people coming to London, Ontario to stand for 4 hours listening to these people spew nonsense.
and buy shirts,
Yes,
merch, lots of
lots
merch.
and lots and lots of shirts at $60 a hoodie and $30 a t-shirt, all plastered with www.fuckthisguy.com because I'm not going to say his domain anymore. Um, you can Google him.
Yeah.
We should actually set that up. The website's fuckthisguy.com, and we could
just a
it's all about
gallery.
this.
We should just see if we can buy that and then just link it over to his website. So, right.
Yeah. So it's, on that note, like, I think maybe we need to start talking about Occupy again. And I keep dropping this turn of reoccupy. But please, let's do it in the spring because I don't like the winter. Like,
See,
Yeah.
see, I'd loved. Let's segue into the Occupy thing. Um, I, I was there. Bailey was there. Um, I loved it. I hated it. It was a tale of two cities. But it's where my growth started, I think, as a person was when I set foot into the meetings, I think, of these things. Like, before they got together, I got to meet some people and stuff like that. And then it's just talking. Like, really, I'm just gonna boil it all down. It was the fact that we actually got to sit and talk with each other about issues and try to resolve them and listen to people, and everybody got a voice. It was beautiful, right? It was very difficult too at the same time because, like, and Bailey can attest to this too, probably. Half the time we were worried about what we were going to get people to frickin' eat, not what we're going to do with our democracy. have like 100 people in the park, or in Toronto's case, thousands, and they all want lunch, right? And you're on the food committee or you're helping out, and right, you don't have time. So it was really interesting dynamics. It created communities, and it created a lot of communication with people. It created a lot of bonds and trust. And you know, I think it was the most amazing time in my life.
Yeah, it was definitely the same kind of thing for me too. Like Occupy was the start of my activism. Like at the time I was third year university, and I was already like politically minded. I was already like a leftist, but I guess more liberal back then. But yeah, I remember I didn't join right away. I think it was about a week after the camp was set up. I was supportive of it, but I was shy and I didn't know anybody in like the London activist community at the time. So I didn't actually go to the camp until it, like I said, about a week after, and I just like skipped class one night and went because I think it was the first night that there was a real threat of police showing up. Because that was another thing about Occupy was, if you had an actual camp going, there was that constant threat of the police coming in and kicking you out because the city, pretty much as soon as Occupy started, the city was trying to find ways to evict the camp from the park, and they were citing bylaws and stuff. Like apparently there was this bylaw that you could not stay in the park overnight. Apparently that's a thing, and like nobody really knew about it until they were trying to apply it to the Occupy camp, saying no, you guys can't stay here because there's this bylaw that you can't stay in the park overnight. So stuff like that. And the city eventually, obviously the camp did get evicted, but for weeks the city was just trying and trying and trying to get rid of the camp and do it legally, and from in their minds do it in a way that would not make them look bad, even though there was no way to do that. So there was, police were always showing up at the camp, and they pretty much picked a couple people. Mike, you were one of them, who they kind of designated as their contact person, or the leader, who they thought was like the leader of Occupy. And I remember the eviction notice that we got. It was addressed to Mike Roy and Occupy London. So,
Oh yeah, it was addressed to. So it says to Mike Roy and the occupants of Victoria Park.
yeah. So they saw you as like the leader guy, right?
When we
And
told them clearly, yeah, that we didn't have a leader. We told them
yeah, I know.
constantly.
Yeah.
And
But so I remember why I got on that tangent. So like my first time going to the Occupy camp was like the first night that there was a real threat of police maybe going in and evicting him. My friend found me and she's like, I'm gonna go to the Occupy camp, cops might be coming. And so I skipped class and I went with her, and it was the greatest decision I ever made, because after that night, I got there and I just like instantly felt like that's where I needed to be. I remember like, not that I want to get into a big discussion about David Rovics, but this was years before all of the current controversy around David Rovics. He was still like a very loved, like, left-wing folk musician, right? And he was actually playing a show at Western that night, and he ended up, because nobody was going to his show because everybody was down at the Occupy camp. So David ended up coming to the Occupy camp and playing a show for us, and that was like, yeah, first night there, and that's like I met Mike, I met a whole bunch of people, and started making friends, and it was just the greatest. It was like I didn't want to be anywhere else but the Occupy camp, and I went back. I think the next day it was still there, and I kept going back every single day. I started going to because we had general assemblies it was like twice a day. I think we did general assemblies, and I always made sure I was there for those. And
you know why we did the 2 general assemblies a day, right?
I mean, other than democracy, like, what is there a specific reason for that? I just
Yeah,
figured it
we
was
actually we no, we did it because, like, because so much time was being taken up with like trying to run the camp,
Mhm.
right? And like the whole meeting would just be that. That was
Yeah,
it. So we weren't getting nothing done,
right.
right? And then there were other people that couldn't be there all day for the meeting, but most people could be there in the evening. So
Right.
we had the earlier one was like, what the fuck do we do to get food and run the camp? And then the later one was like, you know,
Yeah.
everybody come in and we'll talk about the issues. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, and then we had different committees. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
so how did you guys end up getting food? Like, how'd you end up feeding a couple of hundred people in a park?
We did get
In
stuff donated a lot.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Good to
like
see
from
that.
local restaurants, especially at the market, like the Covent Garden Market, like they donated a lot of stuff.
And that's the thing is like a lot of these movements on the left, people are like, oh, businesses don't support them. Actually, they're very friendly to a lot of businesses because the businesses realize these are the people buying their goods. These are the people that cross their doorsteps. These are the people that go through their door every day for lunch in the downtown core and stuff, right? Like,
and the unions helped out. Like I know in Toronto they supplied all the porta potties. I think in London they actually did as well. A power
Yes.
generator in London too. Um, so and a lot of the righties think that the unions backed the whole thing. Nah, nah.
No, they
Like I
they got on board a little later. Do you remember when Sid Ryan came down just because like everyone thought we were going to get evicted the one night? This wasn't the first night that I went where there was a possible eviction. This is like another possible eviction. That's the thing. There was so many like before the camp actually went down, there was so many possible evictions because the police were always like in and out trying to talk to us, trying to convince us to leave. City council would be devoting entire meetings just about the Occupy camp and how to deal with us. And, like, so there was constantly, like I said before,
It was
constantly
so much
that
fun.
threat of, like, we don't know if we're still going to be here tomorrow. Um, but, where was I going with that? There was a reason. There was a reason I was saying that, but I
It's
totally just
okay.
went.
So yeah, we got constant
Yeah.
threat of. So that was one of the things that sort of hindered the experience as well. It was, but that also brought us together an awful lot too, right? So
Yeah.
and the event itself was pretty traumatic. Like I lost a lot of money, like in equipment and tents. Like I had like a carport that we used as like a media tent, a meeting room. My own like they just basically came in and threw things in the back of a garbage disposal truck that was crushing things. So they throw it in, they'd crush it. They throw it in, they crush it. And we'd even run out and go, "Hey, that's our stuff." And the police would keep us from getting our stuff. They say, "Well, you can go complain to the main officer." And it's like, "Well, where is he?" And the guy was like fucking a kilometer away, right? Like you got to go all the way around
yeah,
the
they're not going
park
to
to the
make it
other.
easy for you.
No, they didn't, right? So none of it was, and they didn't worry. This is the thing that's the worst part of it. They didn't even care about the homeless people that were staying with us as to where they were going to go and live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't give a shit about the homeless people. And we had a bunch of homeless folks with us. So,
Yeah. And that was one of the beautiful things about it was like, if you were at our camp, like you were gonna eat that day. You would have a place to crash that day. You know what I mean? Like we would find a way, even if you had nothing of your own, right? Even if you didn't have a tent or like anything, like you know, like everybody there was like very
going to
willing
help you out.
to help you out however they could. So it was a really incredible direct action and
Very
in,
praxis.
How long
yeah.
did you guys hold the park for?
It was like what, a month?
So
3 weeks or a month,
I
something
think,
like
yeah,
that.
London was like a month. Um, Toronto was like October, November, I think almost 3, 2 and a bit.
They went
Um,
down not long after London. I don't
yeah.
I because London, I'm
So
pretty sure was like one of the first camps to go down.
and here's the thing, guys. Like having not participated in Occupy because I was like just busy, and that's no excuse. So I do apologize. But life happens sometimes when you're living in a place called Cornwall, Ontario. Um, but springtime, motherfuckers,
Yes.
springtime. Because this is like whenever I start talking to preppers and they're all like, "I want to go up north and find a plot of land." I'm like, "Yeah, shit freezes to death in the winter in Canada." This is why housing needs to be a thing. I appreciate the solidarity aspect of, you know, freezing to death literally, but we don't want people to freeze to death. That's the thing.
Here's my question. Do we really need to do that again though? Do we need to, like, are we reinventing the wheel? Do we need to do that again? Like,
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
it's civil disobedience at its core. Hell no, I won't go.
Yeah, and it's like direct action. Like I said, it's like we're directly implementing some of the changes we want to see. It's like, you don't want to take care of people and make sure people have a place to stay and food to eat and stuff. Well, we'll do that. Come to our camp in the park. Not that that's like sufficient, not that we're saying like, this is better than giving everybody housing, but I think it proves a point. It's like you people are not willing to do this, right? You don't want to put in the infrastructure that we need to, make this city and this world livable for everybody. So let's do it ourselves. Let's do what we can ourselves, right? And and with Occupy, it's like that's the form that took, right? Was setting up these camps. And I remember I remember now what I was getting at, because I mentioned Sid Ryan. We were talking about evictions, and I remember what I was getting at.
And Sid Ryan's
Trish,
was
it
a big
hasn't
union leader.
changed for the good though. That's the problem. Trish is saying the world has changed so much in 10 years. And
It's true.
I don't think it's changed for the better. That's the problem. And
No, I don't think so either. But I think I think there's a hell of a lot more like resistance to all of this horrible shit going on than there before Occupy. But Sid Ryan, I was going to talk about him because he was the president of the Ontario Federation of Labor at the time, and he was extremely supportive of the Occupy movement. And a lot of the unions, like the unions were not the ones like
well,
running things like a lot of the right wingers like to say, but like they were very supportive, and we were also very supportive of them.
I
Like
have Sid Ryan's video here. So let me throw that on so we can catch
I have a bunch
myself.
of Sid Ryan videos. Yeah.
Nice. Let me see if this works. So
But he drove to London from Ottawa one night because there was another like possible eviction.
excellent. Well, let's see what Sid has to say. Let me know if you can hear this.
Was this mine?
I want to say that you have organized yourselves every bit as efficiently and every bit in terms of solidarity. You've organized yourselves in a similar fashion to what they have in Toronto and in Wall Street. I want to say that I'm proud to be standing here because the message that you're delivering is the message that the Labour movement have been attempting to deliver for the past decades, namely corporate greed, corporate taxes, young people graduating from university with mountains of debt load and graduating into jobs that cannot afford to give them a decent standard of living. You'll be the first generation in history that they will not have as good a standard of living or quality of life as the generation that went before. And I'm so proud that I've never spoken as much about the economy, about corporate taxes, about corporate greed, about the lack of jobs, about tuition fees since you began your protest. It is happening not just here, my friends, but across the world, and you ought to be very proud of yourselves. I want to say to this mayor, to this council, that this is an affront to democracy to be attempting to evict you, peaceful protesters who've done absolutely nothing wrong. but raise the concerns and the issues of the 99%. And I'm so delighted to see the community come out here tonight to send that signal to this mayor that, you know, there's been great movements in the past, and those great movements, such as the one of Martin Luther King in the United States, they engaged in civil disobedience. And my friends, that's what we ought to be thinking about. If they tried to shut down or occupy Canada, occupy London, occupy Toronto, or occupy any one of our cities across this nation, we ought to think about Martin Luther King and the bravery that they brought to their cause, because your cause is no less just. What's happening to the next generation, what's happening to workers, and what's happening to citizens across this world is an absolute disgrace. What happened in Wall Street was not your fault. It's not the fault of young workers. It's not the fault of university students, but yet we're being asked to pay for it. So my friends, yes, link arms around the tent here tonight. Engage in acts of civil disobedience if that's what it takes to get the message across that we will not be driven out of this park or any other park across this country by anybody with their political ideologies that are not in sync with the majority of the 99%. Thank you much, my friend.
God, I remember that so clearly.
Well, that was, like I said, he drove all the way from Ottawa just to be with us that night. Because there was, again, maybe a chance that we would get evicted.
Yeah, that was a good speech. That was a very good speech. So
Was that one of my videos?
Yes, and that's this is the thing.
No, that's from Occupy WSIB.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's Kevin Jones's video.
Nice.
Yep.
And the thing with the unions and Occupy is, like, they were not just supportive of us, we were very supportive of them too. And not long, so it was early 2012, so a few months after Occupy started, the Caterpillar lockout happened, and we were like on the picket line with like the workers from the Caterpillar factory, and like we always had people there, like always. There was always somebody, like we had so we didn't have a camp anymore for Occupy, right? That was gone by then. But you know, that kind of became like another hub for, like, you know, now the Occupy activists and the union people. They would start coming to some of our meetings. They would invite us to their meetings. We had this like giant march from Victoria Park to the Caterpillar factory in the new year also.
Yeah, Matt, I'll send you this, man. So pop this up over.
And thousands and thousands of union people, workers from all over Ontario came to London. There was like, it was way bigger crowd than the anti-vaxxers this weekend. Just saying, like literally all of Victoria Park full of people. And we did this like giant march all the way like from there to the factory. And, you know, so there was a lot of stuff like that happened around that time. And
I'm gonna cut to that video now, actually. So just bear with me one second.
Oh, put the volume up. Rewind it a bit, though. Rewind at the beginning. That's us. The police tried to block us, and we just walked right through them. That was great.
Oh, this is when dubstep was big, I'm guessing, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like this is, I think COVID really shut down the left a lot because they just told us all to stay home and we did. Really cut down on the organizing and the gatherings.
So that's Quebec student movement there at Montreal. Hundreds of thousands of people, 100,000 people at rallies. Yep, some more London stuff. So this is basically 2012. 2011, the end of it, 2012, in a nutshell. This guy got arrested here. This is what's his face? Matt, you know, the racist guy by the
I always tail head back to Ernst Zundel when it comes to racist guys by default. I just gotta turn that down a bit because I can't hear you guys. Yeah, no, it's been a very yeah. Quebec's
So that
been
was
pretty
an
quiet with
interesting
their
year.
student movement, eh, Trish? Like this, and that's the problem. We all of a sudden go, I remember that. Yeah, it's still we can't stop. I think is the
Well,
problem. Somehow we all like. I
Here's the
got
thing about the Quebec.
complacent a bit too much, maybe.
Here's the thing though about Quebec, right? And Bailey can attest to this too, probably. Um, they do things differently there. Like their schools, they've got it set up so that like when you get to high school, at least, um, you now have like a committee of students that basically runs the high school, and you go to meetings. You have to go to meetings. There's meetings on what kind of food you want to have in the cafeteria, everything. And then after that they go into the colleges and stuff. So they actually have these CEGEPs with these things where the students are able to have a huge input into what's going on in their school. And then that goes from there into their workplaces and stuff. So they've got a culture. I got a video on it. They've got a culture of this resistance, of this working together, and you can see it in the people in the street and stuff. Remember that, Bailey?
Yep. Yeah,
A lot
well,
of
I mean, there's a lot of history there, right? I mean, the Quebec student movement was not just the
old.
2012 Quebec student movement. It's very old. They've done this multiple times. And yeah, there is a very different culture in Quebec than in Ontario, and I would say probably the rest of Canada for the most part. But in
Yep.
Quebec, yeah, I mean, if you're, being a student and organizing and protesting when they raise tuition fees, like that's like the norm there. It's like if you don't do it, they're like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, why would
Mm.
you not
Well,
stand
this
up?
is why Quebec has the lowest tuition rates in the country as well, right?
Exactly, yeah. And
Because like they're militant about the fact that you shouldn't like have to pay as little as possible for an education, and I'm okay with that. Like just make it free. It just
yeah.
make like I'm willing to bet that everybody that goes to university for math is in agreement that the tax revenue that you would receive in return for a free post-secondary education is worlds above what you'd ever earn just from charging people, unless you have to make them borrow it and pay it off for the rest of their lives plus interest.
And
Yes.
any good capitalist would want a well-educated consumer base, right? Because you're going to be able to invent things. You're going to be able to make things.
Yep.
You're going to want your people to be smart. So,
Yep. And in Quebec, this stuff just, like I said, it goes way back, back to like the 60s, the Quiet Revolution, when it was rebelling against the church. and that culture just continued on, so when 2012 happened, it was like, for a lot of us, we were really, I think, like, blown away by it. We're like, holy shit, this is so crazy. But like, really, for Quebec, it's like that.
Militant unionism, like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
just
Well, the pots and pans was
extraordinarily
also
organized.
like mothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that. Yeah, Trish pointed out the kitchen silverware parades. I mean, I remember going out and banging on pots and pans like every night.
Manif casserole or whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 And that's another thing.
Yeah.
It goes back pretty far.
Yep.
Mm.
We
Like,
went to a training. Me and Bailey went to a training camp for a weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. Dum dum dum.
and these are the things that I think we need to start doing again.
Hmm.
These are the things that we need to, it needs to be approachable. As much as I'm, all for firebombing banks and stuff, um, my neighbor's not going to join me on that expedition anytime soon, right? So, like,
No.
but I did go out, like, once again, you know, I wish some people connected the pots and pans with for the first responders with the connection it had with this, with the connection it had with Europe. Um, because yeah, like they know that it's a protest, right? Like it's support for a cause.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and speaking of connections, I think that's one thing that I neglected to talk about with the whole Occupy thing, and it was the connections. And I mean, Occupy didn't happen on its own, right? There were other things that happened in the world prior to Occupy. Like there was it started in Tunisia, I believe, and there was this guy that had like a fruit cart. Uh, I think the guy's name was Muhammad. Don't quote me on that 100%, but
Mohammed Zizi.
yes, thank you. And city officials or police or something like that tipped over his cart, took all his stuff, basically took him all of all his worldly possessions. And the guy went to City Hall and lit himself on fire. So that's where this all
Self-immolation.
that's where this all started from, right? And that was in 2011, and that started the Arab Spring, and it started in Tunisia and then spread throughout northern Africa, and then and through, all kinds of other places, Syria and stuff like that, all throughout the world. And then when it got to Europe, it turned into the Indignados movement in Spain, and there we started seeing them adopt general assemblies and stuff like that they were already starting to do in Tahrir Square in Egypt. Um, so yeah, and then the adaptation that we had over here in North America was um, the Occupy movement, right? And then some encampments went over into Europe as well. So it was huge. It was huge. And what a lot of people don't understand was it's not the complete thing. It's just one little battle in an overall war, and it was not necessarily victorious because we don't live in this utopian like dream world, right? And it didn't succeed in doing that, but what it did succeed in doing is bringing people like me and Bailey together so that we could become friends and we can talk about these things and we could work together on trying to fight the man and other people doing the same thing. So, and I think I'm ranting now.
No, no, like
No.
this is why I think like one of the signs that flashed up on there is, we've woken up is what it basically said. We're the 99%, we've been asleep, but now we're awake. I think somehow they managed to put us all back to sleep again. And, some of us have been stirring around in our blankets because it's hot. We keep kicking one leg out every so often, but we're still kind of asleep.
I think
And
that Obama deflated a little bit of leftism. That's
well,
my personal
he
opinion.
did
Well,
really steal a lot of thunder and trample it out and just yeah, it happens all the time. They come in with a big promise. They come like I rode the Cape of Hope on that one as well, everybody. I clung to that cape of his and I was like, "Here comes the change, motherfuckers." And yeah, no, 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 no change.
Bailey, What'd
I
you
mean,
think of that?
I thought Obama was the coolest dude ever at first, right? I was
It's
like, a
those
lot of
fucking
people.
Shepherd Ferry posters, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, like I was in high school when Obama first got elected, and we had Stephen Harper up here, so it was just like I was looking down at the U.S. I was going like, holy shit, like they literally have like coolest president ever, you know? Why can't he be Prime Minister of Canada? That was my thinking back then, but I was also a teenager, right? I didn't know shit about what was actually going on, and until WikiLeaks, most people didn't really understand what was going on under the Obama administration, right? The truth about it, the fact that like, he's a fucking war criminal, and just how much worse the surveillance state got under him, and like,
Well,
just
he
so
was.
much.
This was going to get rid of shit like the Patriot Act, and our borders were going to become
Yeah.
freer again, and we wouldn't be funding like
It only
small
got
town
worse.
police forces getting tanks. Like this
It only
is.
got worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely it did.
More
Absolutely.
kids were held in jail. More people
Yeah.
died under Obama than in George Bush's reign. Everything got worse
It got
with
accelerated.
Obama than compared to Bush.
He
Not
was
that Bush
Bush
was good.
2.0,
Yeah,
basically.
he was Bush on steroids.
It's
So
it's just the
just like
machine.
yeah, and it's just like Trudeau, right? Is he that much different than Harper? What's really been done, right? I mean,
I
gay
mean,
folks can get married. We got legalized pot, but those things are going to be done under any other party probably.
well, the thing about Obama and Trudeau, the thing that they have in common, I think, is that they're both, these relatively young guys,
Charismatic.
young for holding political office, young for being the leader of a country, right? Relatively young, kind of hip dudes, come across as, cool guys that you could hang with. Smoke
That's
a joint,
me.
Yeah, but like that's how Trudeau and Obama kind of come across, right? Like you'd like them as people, like like they'd be fun to hang with. They have nice faces. They know how to speak well, and they're not, they don't speak like they're fucking idiots, right? And so like they kind of have that nice good boy image, but like what's actually going on is a whole other story. And it's very similar here with Trudeau and the way that, for example, the international community tends to see Trudeau versus how we see Trudeau, right? And I think it was a similar thing with with Obama, where like everybody was kind of looking at him and thinking, what a great guy to have as president, but then you learn the reality of it,
Well,
and
it's
it's
like
not such a cool guy after all.
I can't figure out the direction where all of this is going ultimately.
What do you mean?
What is the end game of capitalism?
Mm, 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 mm,
Destruction,
mm.
everything.
One word. Accumulation.
Well, accumulation, but like you can only feed off something for so long. Like this.
Oh no, you find other ways. You find other ways. You gotta dive. You gotta change, man. You gotta adapt. You gotta dodge that bullet. You gotta fucking woo. So when the Earth's done, we gotta go to the rocks that are, the whole, mining the asteroid belt and stuff like that. When that's done, then we gotta move out even further, and that's the way it's gonna have to work if we keep doing things the way we're doing it.
But I can only work so hard. Like
No, you gotta work harder.
this is the thing.
We
Like
need to clone you. Okay. Your clone will work 24/7. You can get 8 hours off a day.
I know a
But your
gentleman right
clone
now. I know a
will work
gentleman
24/7.
and he's I like he's new to Canada and yeah, our system is set up for failure from the get-go, even for refugees.
Right. But
Mhm.
apparently they're given the world according to these
Oh
right
God,
wingers,
yeah, no, they're
right?
given lots of credit. They're
Oh
given lots of
yeah.
high interest credit.
Really, I've just been told they've been just giving out money, like just
No, no,
handed
no,
handed
no.
cash.
No,
That's
they
what
get
I hear. That I've heard that
yeah,
directly. Yeah, they're
yeah.
just giving like they're giving $20,000 and to
They're
get off a
given
boat.
exactly what you would expect to be given if you showed up on the doorstep of Canada and said, "I need help."
Yep.
And as pitiful as we know what that is, you're looking at basically an ODSP payment. Like
Right.
there's your entitlement and maybe some emergency startup
Which is
funding, which
just slightly better than welfare, by the way. So,
yes.
which is
Yes.
actual just total
Because for
poverty.
some, like there's this
So,
weird tiering to poverty that, if you're disabled, like yeah, I can't. And just UBI now, motherfuckers, at least for starters.
Yeah.
I do believe UBI might have some negative traits
okay,
to it.
so this is a whole show we can do, by the way.
Yeah.
So I want to hold off on my comments on UBI
Okay.
until we
No
actually do that
UBI
show.
talk tonight. No UBI talk.
We're coming
So
back to this.
I
we
think I
gotta
have a
come back to
UBI
UBI.
infection.
You can get something to clean that up, eh?
Cranberry
Lotion
juice.
even.
Lots of
Yeah.
cranberry juice. So,
You rub it. You rub it over top of the infected area.
yeah, but
What the fuck? Where did this conversation go? We're talking UBI, and then these
no,
guys.
this
start talking about
conversation is about
infections, like,
Occupy and where we go next. And
Okay.
hashtag
Okay.
reoccupy.
It's
Hashtag
Matt. Matt was talking
reoccupy.
about like an infection of some sort. So
An infection of the mind.
I
I
just
said he can get a
heard
cream.
put this over the infected area, and like, what am I listening to?
Wrong podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
So it's going to be a hard thing to do if you guys think that that's what we need to do, which I don't feel like it's necessarily the wrong idea either. It's just so fucking hard. And it would also be hard to overplan the goddamn thing because you'd almost be overreaching your authority in doing so in
You
some
talking about
regard.
reoccupying?
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
I think it should happen. I think that would be amazing if it happened, but it can't be the only thing.
no,
We
no,
can't.
like
It can't. Yeah.
no, and I'm not like no, like the I'm sorry, on some levels the Occupy brand has come and gone, right? Like this, like
Yeah.
it's fantastic, but this is new. This is the new step in this. You had your chance last time to listen to us with Occupy. Now you're stuck with us because we're not
Yeah.
going away this time. You gave
Well,
us your promises,
you know
and
what else worked was the just having the General Assembly, Bailey, was just
Yeah.
having that group of people around. We
Yeah.
kept that group of people together. Like when I say we, I mean all of us for like
Yeah.
a year and a half, 2 years, 2 years at least, maybe
Yeah.
3.
Well, here's the
Like
thing. After the camp went down, that was not the end of Occupy.
it got
Um,
stronger.
we were having general assemblies still every day for quite a long time. And if it wasn't a general assembly, it was some kind of working group meeting or something. Like I remember going, because in the wintertime, we stopped going to the park because it was cold. We started going to the library, downtown core, which is like just a couple blocks from the park. And I remember going to that library literally every single day because there was some kind of meeting. And
I do love the town square, the park. It's always been like it's historical significance, but I think springtime must be key. Um, at least springtime, maybe March, early March I could handle.
yeah,
Um,
And we had a lot of good structure to these meetings too, right, Bailey? Like we had rules for the
yeah,
meetings.
we
kept
had rules of
notes.
procedure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we had everybody, or like there was like there wasn't just a chairperson. Like there were multiple roles that were being filled. So there'd be somebody like facilitating the meeting, or chairing, whatever you want to call it.
I'd say there's nothing wrong with encouraging people to say on the weekends, take back your public spaces.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Take them back, camp out, hang out with the homeless people, spend the weekend with them, you know, maybe buy them
Yeah.
dinner while you're there, get them, call in some Uber Eats fleets. And like, yeah, like I say we take back the parks. Fuck it. Like
Yeah.
this is this is ultimately it. These are our last bastions of public space. You know, the condominiums are encroaching on them. They're sniping away at them till eventually they're gonna, somebody's gonna get a bylaw passed that can't congregate in groups of 10 in Victoria Park after 4 p.m., right?
Yeah.
In the UK, a lot of their parks close at night now. They're gated off and you can't venture into them.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, though. We need to start reoccupying,
Uh,
taking back the.
like, exactly, because they don't
Don't give
listen
the right wingers
otherwise.
any ideas, by the way, guys.
They've already got them. That's why they showed up with
Yeah.
2,000 strong at Victoria Park.
I know.
We gotta watch that. Is it a Tommy Lee Jones movie? The Park is Mine. Anybody ever seen that?
No.
I'm gonna flip an image up on screen just for the sake of the image.
I have heard those words before, though.
Yep, Tommy Lee Jones. Because I don't think this is the Occupy movement they want to see. This
I'm not
is,
tripping.
this is definitely not what, as much as I would love this to be
I'm
the
not seeing
Occupy
it. Oh, there we
movement.
go. Yeah.
This this is yeah. This is,
Well, what?
I think we could do it. Like maybe we need some better posters this time. Maybe we need some the park is mine posters.
Speaking of like,
Yeah.
I think Adbusters did an amazing job on like, I don't know, uh, doing the whole imagery for getting Occupy off the ground. Like the ballerina um in New York, right by the bull, right? Was like what is an iconic image.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing job. And yeah, I'd love to pick Chris. Why am I having such a brain problem today? Who's the guy that we met at Western?
Chris Hedges?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Chris
Chris, when we had
Hedges. I remember hanging with him.
some beers with Chris.
Yeah. Chris
Chris.
Hedges came and did a talk at Western University. Was it was like around the time of Occupy or like after Occupy. It was like 2012 or 2013, I think. But yeah, we went to his talk and then we got to hang with him after.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like have some drinks with him and talk with him. It was really cool. But he told
So
us a
he,
little bit of, yeah, Mike, you can.
yeah, he leaned over to us and sort of whispered. He goes, you know what? There's things about Occupy. I could tell you that you shouldn't tell anybody else, but like there were people that came to my house or to organize, and I'll just leave it at that right there. So all I want to know is I need to have a conversation with Chris more. I'd love to interview him. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
And just
he's a cool guy. I mean, I don't agree with all of his points on everything.
he's a little too religious, but
How do we
whatever.
get
in general.
so
Yeah.
how do we get people angry enough to want to participate again yet feel welcome enough that they don't feel like they're throwing their
Well,
careers
first
and
off, people
livelihoods
need to
out the
feel
window?
safe. People need to feel safe coming out of their houses, and I don't know when that's going to be because of this goddamn flipping pandemic. So, that's the
We're
biggest
getting there.
obstacle I
We're
think
getting
right
there.
now. I know, but that's still an obstacle, and that still might be an obstacle for another year or something.
Yeah, welcome to the pandemic era, but yeah,
Meanwhile, all these fucking wingnuts are out, you know, gallivanting in the streets, right? Maybe they're gonna get mass spreads because of it, but I don't know. I don't know. Like we can't really organize right now. We can't. We could do it digitally, but that's not the same.
yeah, but you know
Um,
what? Things are opening up again. Things are opening up again. We're vaccinated. We do well socially distancing. You know, like I know a lot of introverted socialists. You know, you can only get so close to some of us, and we start stepping back. That's
Yeah.
I
so.
mean, you could do meetings in a park, right? In a
Yeah,
big circle. Like we used to do circles. Remember that, Bailey? Like a big
Yep.
circle, and you
Yep.
know, as long as you're spaced apart, sure, you could do that. You could have masks on even if you want, right? So yeah, I'm sure you could do that sort of thing. It's more of a warm weather sort of,
Yeah.
or nice
Spring.
weather. Yeah.
Yeah, reoccupy summer of 2022. You
exactly.
heard it here first. You heard it on the Indignants first.
Yeah, come
Spring
camp
or
with the
summer? Do you want spring or
Summer. I
summer?
said summer, but maybe we should
like
start in the
like
spring.
you know what
Spring's
we're
close
doing
to
for
summer.
Victoria Day? We're taking Victoria Park, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Might even be fireworks, but they're all going to be red and just stars.
Yeah.
Oh,
We may be
lordy.
on to something there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Got to do it before the vaxxers do.
Yes, exactly.
And
Mm.
that's the thing, folks. Get ready. Like you're gonna see a lot of stupid shit if you follow me if you're on my Facebook page, because the next time I'm going to one of these anti-vax rallies, you guys need to come too, because other
Stream
people
from you
need
could
to see
we
next
this.
should
time you
stream
come,
next time.
stream as the Indignants.
Yes.
Okay. Because like that's how we used to do the show too.
Yes,
We used to
because
stream it
everybody
as
wants to see Bailey and I walking around going, "What the fuck is this? Holy
Yeah,
shit! Holy
I
shit!
did.
What the
When
fuck?"
you guys
Yeah.
called me and you were showing me, you were walking around, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, you should actually, you should walk around and
This is true.
and just interview people. Pretend you're
They
like
did.
on their
They
side,
were.
right?
They did. You know, like
I think they thought that we were part of them. Like we were walking
we
around like
blended very well. But
yeah.
you know, white privilege. That's exactly what that was, because they didn't. You know, we smoked cigarettes, and yeah, they just assumed we were anti-vaxxers.
Yep. Yeah, like
Well,
we were smoking a joint at one point, and a dude came up to me and was like, "Hey, just be careful, the cops over there." And I'm like, "Well, substance." He's like, "Yeah, but they're getting people on cigarettes." Like, okay, thanks for the heads up. Like they totally thought that we were like part of them. Like nobody knew the difference, right? We're just like walking around, and like Matt was
well,
getting pictures of people, and they're totally happy to have their pictures taken, right?
I highly recommend the next time you guys go in, don't be confrontational, but be like them and then sort of get them to say things that here's what I would probably do, right? Like I'd be like, hey, how you doing? Good, good.
These are
Man,
not
Matty,
the people
that
we want occupying the park.
no. This is what I'm talking about though. So, hey, buddy, how you doing? Good, good, good. So, man, that whole replacement theory, man, that's really getting to me. Like it's really bothering me that my grandkids won't be able to find somebody that's white, right? And then see what they say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Because you'll
you'll have
probably
to give
get.
me the loaded questions. So
Oh, I got a bunch of questions.
We'll have to
Yeah,
come up with the questions in advance. Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
how do we play this?
And you'll find that, you'll find a lot of them.
Yeah.
oh, so okay, so do you guys? I got a treat for us too, because we did an anti-vax rally, and so did Channel 5. So I don't know if you guys know who Channel 5 is. So you guys are gonna want to hear this, Bailey. So I hope you're watching the stream as well. We're gonna go to an actual broadcast from the Channel 5. Let me fade this over here.
You know what I have to say to that? Fuck. Excuse me, are you vaccinated?
Oh, wait,
You know
one
what I have
second
to
here.
say?
I've got the wrong screen up. There we go. So this is I'm drawing a lot of comparisons already, Bailey. Let me know when you're ready for this. You guys ready? Here we go.
Excuse me, are you vaccinated? You know what I have to say to that? Fuck you. I am absolutely disgusted with what's going on here in Los Angeles. We need to take these guys out. They are all indoctrinated with this Chinese, communist, fascist narrative. And you know what? We're not going to have it.
Absolutely not. No. Fuck that.
We need to kill their cash flow, and that's going to kill them. Actually, I would like to see them publicly hanging in the town square.
Breaking news. Breaking news. You're watching Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan.
Good morning, America. You're watching Channel 5 News. We're here in Hollywood, California, on the corner of Hollywood Vine, where there is a rally to save America. By save America. What is it? What's the name of the rally? Hey, what's the name of this rally again?
Unity March.
What's the catchphrase for this march?
Let the lions loose.
Who are the lions?
We're the lions.
Who are the sheep?
Oh, all the fucking idiots that put shit in their arm.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's Liberty is Dope 1.
Here we are, Channel 5 live worldwide, Hollywood and Vine, Freedom March. 2021.
This guy's a regular.
Today and all days forward, let's take our country back. Let's get it back. Get back for the Lord. Get our country back and do it. Bring it back.
This
One
is
of the toughest
same
vaccine
crowd.
mandates in the nation coming to Los Angeles. The city council approving a measure requiring proof of full vaccination to enter many indoor businesses.
Eligible students in the nation's second largest school district will now be required to get vaccinated against the coronavirus. It comes amid soaring pandemic cases across the country.
And they're putting on CRT. It's time to just move on and move away. I don't want my kid masked up. I don't want them learning about critical race theory. I don't want them learning about Antifa, and they still pass these mandates on these kids. They still put it in schools. We have to take our kids out of this school.
There are certain people that maybe it's better for them, maybe.
My thing is, it's 99% survival rate. Like, what is it for from a health standpoint? It's not. It's a business.
If we listen to pharma, our cough syrup will still have heroin in it.
It's a dumpster fuck. We are going by the Nazi playbook. Wake up, guys. The vaccine passport is like wearing a yellow star on your arm. If you're too brainwashed and too stupid to see that a mask and a
They
vaccine
sold out of the yellow
are not
stars
going to
in
protect
London,
you from
Ontario.
fascism, you know what? I've got some swampland in Florida for you.
What does that mean?
That means I'm buying swampland in Florida. That's like the stupidest thing you could possibly do. What kind of a question is that, dude? Come on now.
Because it sinks under the mud or whatever?
Yeah, it's like, it's not an investment.
Would you rather live in Wuhan, China, or Portland, Oregon?
Neither.
You have to pick a studio apartment in either city.
I wouldn't. I would not.
It's would you rather. You got to pick one.
I don't care. I'm not answering that question because I would rather not do either one of them. Fuck Joe Biden.
Local celebrity here. Yeah, man. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, man. I definitely fuck with Donald Trump heavies.
He's not discriminating against the black people with this vaccine, is he?
And if it wasn't for him, EDD, PPP, it wouldn't exist. So actually, Donald Trump actually made a big impact.
Boom. What's up?
Hi.
What's on your mind?
Standing up for sovereignty, soul sovereignty, medical freedom, freedom, this beautiful country we stand for. There's so much on my mind. Sorry.
Father, we thank you for your protection. We thank you that you're not done with our nation.
Thank you, God.
Father, we thank you. We pray for our enemies today. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Yeah, my name is Grizzly. I am 17 years old. I live in Orange County, and I'm here to protest for freedom. Stand up for what's right.
crowd.
You're a fucking shit. The fuck out of here, commie motherfucker. Hey, this is our town, motherfucker. Try to take it. Try to take it.
What had brought you to the White Lives Matter rally in HB?
I heard the Klan was going to be there. I don't like the fucking Klan. As someone who's Semitic or half Semitic, you know, I don't like that shit. You know, and I went there and all I saw was people ganging up on people with American flags, and I didn't stand for that.
Who'd you come here with?
I came here with Kelly right here.
Kobe Bryant was assassinated by the Quins.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Fuck you. Fuck your life. I hope you fucking die, homie, straight up.
Kelly J. Patriot, hola amigos and amigas. We're up here in Hollywood, and you know it's a big day.
Can you describe what this flag is? And
exactly. What this is a four-banger. Four-banger is 4 flags on one pole. So if you go up to the top, I got the God, Guns, and Trump flag, and that flew in the Capitol of D.C. on January 6th. And I had it with the Stop the Steal flag, the second up top.
You know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. Bree, you got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine.
Do you still support Trump, even though Trump was heavy on the vaccine?
I don't think he was too heavy on the vaccine. He was just trying to tell people what may be available and to make their own decision. I don't think he was forcing them. He wasn't offering them money. He wasn't offering to pay their tuition. He wasn't offering millions of dollars. He wasn't offering them free donuts. He wasn't offering them beer, milkshakes, a free hamburger, free something. It's crazy. And it's proven that it has creepy crawlers in it. It has pieces of metal.
What are creepy crawlers?
It's things with tentacles. And they try to move together. It's like they're a family of satanic little particles.
What do you think is on the creepy crawler agenda?
I think it's to depopulate. It's things that are bad for people. Kids growing tails.
This is
kids
so
growing up with
good.
animal hair.
This
It's
is
for the
so
New World
good.
Order. I think they want to get us all on the world, in the money system. So I know it's about the New World Order. It's to depopulate.
Media beef, media fiasco. They're yelling.
Right, to do what? Hold on.
Oh shit, we're going viral.
All right, we're walking away.
We're going viral. Oh shit, we're going viral.
Oh, so bad.
We're going viral?
Viral?
We're going viral?
Are you going viral?
Are we going viral?
Hopefully. Hopefully you got a bunch of fights today. Don't air this at all, please. We'll get in big time trouble. All right, guys, we are in Hollywood. Love the signs. There we go. What do you guys do out here? What's going on?
Walking around talking to people, seeing what's up after a hectic few weeks on the road.
Okay. You like the Sixers?
January Sixers.
Oh, okay. I like that.
You got the whole setup. Was that a gimbal?
Sorry, did
Look
I
how
just
stable
snort?
your man is right now.
Yeah, it's pretty stable if you want. It's a little... January 6th. Were you guys there? That was a fun time, right?
I was not there. Were you there?
I was there.
Yeah.
It was a great time. I don't know what that means to people. Does that mean I'm a bad guy? Am I a bad guy for going?
No.
People think I am?
I don't think you're a bad guy. How can you be a bad guy with a nice suit like that?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
How do you feel right now? We're on the Walk of Fame. Do you think that you're ever going to have a star of your own?
I never thought about that. I think Hollywood is going down the drain right now. I think there'll be a new Hollywood coming soon, somewhere else. I don't know. I don't want to be a part of this industry anymore.
When you say Hollywood's going down the drain, what type of stuff?
Nice shot of L. Ron Hubbard Scientology headquarters.
Everything that you watch on TV is pretty much propaganda,
ironic.
rituals of satanic crap. So there you go. I'm not going to be part of Hollywood.
What's your favorite TV show?
Probably American Horror Story.
That's like the most satanic show on television.
It is, but you watch it to understand what they're doing. Where it comes down to rituals. I don't want to say what group, but they do it, and it's been passed down from hundreds of years of generations, and they do it. They used to do it back then. Why wouldn't they be doing it now?
So can you
The
describe
whole
exactly what the
QAnon
ritual
trap,
is?
right? Pizzagate.
I believe it's they take a baby, they torture it, they put it in this bowl, right? And they drain the blood, and then someone starts drinking it, and they get the crazy high off it, probably. They're drinking blood from children. What's this little Nas guy? He's blowing the devil, banging the devil. I mean, problem is that we need to prove it. That's the problem. I'm not there yet. It's just people are going to uprise, and I think a war could be coming. Right now, it's an information, spiritual war, but I think it's going to be a physical war someday. Yeah.
And who do you think the two sides are going to be?
Patriots versus the libtards, or the unvaccinated versus the vaccinated.
Listen to me. Even Hillary Clinton said on national TV, somebody's gonna hit and we're gonna break that big glass in the sky. I said, huh?
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
This is just it on national TV. We're in the fucking dome. Yes, this fucking shit is flat. Because they trying to break the ice wall that's on the out layer that's keeping us inside.
You think the Earth is flat?
Do I think I know? You should go read Genesis. Anyway.
CNN, why aren't you down here? Why aren't you covering us? You're not gonna cover us because you support the tyranny.
What's up?
And the tyranny.
What's up?
Hey, man, what's going on?
What's on your mind?
Not much.
For sure. How do you feel about CNN?
I'm not a big fan.
What media do you trust?
I trust independent thinkers. I trust critical thinkers. I trust Blaze Media, The Daily Wire.
What about Channel 5?
Channel 5 what?
These nuts. Ha, got him.
Are you Welvin the Great?
Hell yeah.
How you been doing, Welvin?
Oh, I've been good. I've been solid.
How do you feel about COVID?
Oh, I don't got that.
Did you take the vaccine?
Mm-hmm. Took the vaccine, so I like it though. It's cool.
So fuck you, LA City Council. Go fuck yourselves. That's how all of us feel.
Ooh. You watching Channel 5. You watching Channel 5. These nuts. Hot. Got him. Quit playing with me though.
And the 1% and the beast system.
The beast system.
The beast system. That's like the 1% they worship Lucifer.
All of them?
I mean, if they sell their soul for fame, they're bowing down to Lucifer. That's the beast system.
What about if they like have an independent following that goes viral on YouTube and they have almost as much fame as like a B-list actor?
That doesn't count. That's independent.
How do you get into the beast system? Like
You sell your soul. You sign a contract.
with who typically?
It's the big industries, you know, so they come to you with a contract, but you're signing it with Lucifer.
So when you sign the paperwork, even if it's in a PDF format on DocuSign.
Hey, I don't know the exact
Wow.
technical details, but I know if you sign the contract, you're signing away your soul.
Who
Yeah.
are some celebrities you think are top offenders?
Tom Hanks. And I'm not going to name any more names. I'm just pretty much against Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks?
Yeah. His son, I mean, have you seen his son's tattoos? They're pretty Luciferian.
What's his son's name?
I don't know. I just thought he's like covered in like Illuminati tattoos.
Chet Hanks.
Look him up. He's got like the pyramid and it's dark.
Tell that pussycat girl me know what I want.
Oh, Tom Hanks must be so proud.
Big up to you, Dem.
Thank you. I'm noticing you have a Bernie Sanders t-shirt on.
Yes.
You like Bernie Sanders?
I like some of his policies. I support Medicare for all, free college, universal child care, universal paid family leave, 5 weeks paid vacation, smaller military budget.
But you don't like the vaccine?
No.
How come?
We, the little people, are supposed to sacrifice ourselves, be maimed and die in the name of pharmaceutical profits. Don't trust the fucking pharma-funded media.
People need to start like talking to their community members and people that they know, not LeBron James or any other
So
media
close.
member
So
or
many of them are so
celebrity.
close.
I'm running for Congress. I'm a congressional candidate. And one of the things that pisses me off about our government, we have all these officials, they have no idea what it's like to be out here. No idea. No idea. Ted Lieu, the guy I'm running against, he would never come out here and just have a conversation.
I feel bad when I see that.
How come?
Because it's so ridiculous, you know. Those
French
people
guy.
will finish in an hospital, you know. A bunch of uneducated people and Trumpists. Well, just look at the numbers. If you're not vaccinated, you will end up in an hospital, you know, and you eventually die. You know, it's just ridiculous, you know.
Is there a lot of people like this in France?
There's some, you know, but I think not as bad as here. Yeah.
Why do you think it's worse here?
I would say the government has much more power in France to enforce rules and mandates compared to here, where it's very decentralized. And you have all those states like basically would not enforce the rules to make us safer, you know?
So do you think there should be tighter restrictions?
Yep, sure. Yep.
And more mandates?
Yep.
Do you see that as conflicting with constitutional rights?
No.
So, welcome to Channel 5, ladies and gentlemen. It is one of my favorite channels on the internet. That's, yeah, so, Bailey, any difference between London's crowd and that crowd?
Not really. I mean, okay, but one thing that really stood out to me was the guy in the Bernie shirt. And, like, Matt, you were pointing it out, but, like, he was so close. And it's just, like, those are the kinds of people that we can, like, find common ground with. And, like, maybe, you know.
Well, that's exactly it, right? Like,
side.
yeah, and I think the vaccine crowd will eventually come on board. They're gonna have to, right? Like, it's, you know, you're like workplaces are mandating it. They're mandating it now for their vendors. Like, you're just gonna have to be vaccinated, and I think it for the reason they're doing it is because of liability, right? The last thing they want is somebody coming into their store and catching COVID and killing somebody. And if track and trace comes into play, if we get our numbers down far enough that we can track and trace this shit and isolate it, then yeah, liability is a very valid prospect. So, but yeah, this is why we are going to reoccupy the parks. This is so that's yeah. So welcome to another Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. So
yeah. So yeah, man, if that ever happened, it'd have to, I don't know, it'd be very difficult, because yeah, you'd have to make sure the people that are, I mean, back then we were all babies, like even some very seated activists never seen anything like that, right? You know, and now you got some big veterans kicking around now in a lot of areas. You know, there's been a lot of movements, a lot of political movements and stuff.
well, I
Even
think we're
since
going to
that,
see
right?
a huge crisis with housing, and I think our launch pad is going to be the housing movement. Because guess what? We're occupying because life is unaffordable, because you guys haven't changed the fucking system. We've got the Pandora Papers, we got the Panama Papers, we got the Monsa Fonseca, whatever. They're hiding their money from us. And it's not even their money, it's our money, and I mean that in all my communist glory. Like this is not their money, it's our money, and it's supposed to be paying for your kids' educations and the potholes that you hate and widening the highways for you car-loving motherfuckers. It's like it's supposed to be building hyperloops and underground buses and rocket ships to Mars. Like, but what do we do? What do we do? We you know, we're back to sleep. So let's wake the fuck up. But on that note, I think I have to go to bed soon. So
Well, it's been 2 hours.
It's been a couple
Oh.
hours, yeah.
yeah, I
it's
think
been good.
yeah, it's been a good time tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
And we
everybody.
had a lot of bugs again. Forgive us for that, but we're getting better. If anybody knows anything about the ability to be able to for us to stream stuff and watch it at the exact same time, we're having a bit of a delay issue there. So if you got any technical input, message us. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't know what we're talking about next week yet.
We'll figure it out, but yeah,
It'll be
we've
exciting and
all-
adventurous. This was a very busy weekend, and the Vax rally threw me off with 2000. But you can definitely expect that we are going to be talking about organizing and the best ways to organize within your communities and your towns and your schools and your neighborhoods and with your fucking neighbors. Knock on their doors and talk to these people.
Yep.
So, okay, well, I'm gonna say goodnight.
Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you
And
enjoyed it.
good night. And check out our website, check out our Facebook page, check out our Twitter, and whatever other social media thing you got going on there.
Yeah.
Good night.